Alexandra Levine welcomes you to the Alexandra Levine Live Podcast. Today, we've got a packed show, from breaking news to informative topics that will keep you well informed. So, please click the subscribe button to get notified of her upcoming episodes. If you like what Alexandra talks about, then please share the Alexandra Levine Live to others. Alexandra also looks forward to your comments during this episode. Tonight's Alexandra Levine Live Podcast starts now.
Good evening. I'm Elena Barbera, and I'm filling in for Alexandra Levine tonight. Sorry if you're disappointed, but I'll do my best to not keep you bored. Alexandra's off gallivanting somewhere. I am not sure where, but she deserves to do some good gallivanting. All right, so let's just talk about the news, just in general. It's been a little slow, hasn't it? I mean, not slow, but there's been no major news story that everybody on Earth is talking about all at once, right? There's some heavy stuff. We've got the Epstein files. We've got that hockey rink shooting everyone was talking about for a minute. We've got Iran, Taiwan. Nobody really wants to talk about that. But, we're kind of just used to it. That's just your standard baseline mayhem at this point. So the mainstream media is, however, trying really, really hard to get us to keep talking about the Savannah Guthrie missing mom story. Every day they drop some tiny little sliver just to keep us interested, and it's just not working. The American people just don't seem to care anymore. And quite frankly, there are more important things that we need as a nation need to be talking about. May she be found, but that's enough of that. So this spell of relative peace, I'll say, compared to the usual assassinations or arresting dictators or people dying while they're out, protesting. So let's try to enjoy the relative peace. But, we're going to have something to be wildly angry about any minute now. But in the meantime, there's plenty to be just medium upset about. So let's get into it. The first thing, though, more important than anything I'm going to talk about is my guest tonight. I've got Justin Murphy, who is, you know what? I am going to let you introduce yourself. Justin is running for office. He's trying to get from New Jersey to Washington, D.C. Hello, Justin.
Hello, how are you, Elena? Thank you for having us on. And we do miss Alexandra, but you're going to do just fine. And it's always good to be here on APN. Thank you. And always have a nice time, great interviews, and always great stimulating conversation. So Justin Murphy is here from the great state of New Jersey. We're running in the Republican primary to hopefully win an unsecure nomination to be the nominee to take on incumbent Cory Booker this November. New Jersey has not elected a Republican to serve in the U.S. Senate since 1972. So we had quite an uphill climb, but we're battling. We're doing very well. I'm happy where we're at right now. And we'll continue to push forward and ask God for guidance.
Well, I'll be praying for you. And I am also all in on helping you fight Cory Booker. That man is one of the, I pray for him too. I'll pray for him too, because he is taken by the devil. This is a man who, just quickly, I'm going off script here, but this is a man who a few years ago tried to pass an act in Congress in Washington, to make it a national requirement to have sex ed that started in kindergarten. That is just one of the many disgraceful things that race-baiting progressive maniac is trying to push on the American people. And he put that, he kept putting that forward for a few years in a row. Yeah. So when you secure this nomination, I actually it turns me a little bit into a rabid dog to try to defeat him. So I'm in your corner there.
Thank you. Hopefully we got a competitive primary, and we have to get through that first, and it's tough. We have to collect signatures, many hurdles on the way to Washington. The party, as you just described Cory Booker, you really just described the entire left wing, if not the entire base of the Democrat Party. All their elected officials, state and federal, are pushing this sexualization of public school curriculum. It's front and center for them. They have one page out of their playbook to run on. That is, they hate Donald Trump. And we all know what they're trying to do by inflicting a full-blown culture war on America and American parents and parental rights and the parent-child relationship. And just bad. You really have to look back and see how far off the rails that party has gone. They are really, really just they're dangerous at this point. It's not just like they have a crazy set of ideas because they, in too many cases they hold political power. And I tell people the solution is to get them out of office. They have to be defeated at the ballot box. They cannot be the people who pass our laws, govern our country, run our schools, and enact the rules and regulations that our businesses operate under. They cannot do that.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more. Fortunately, there's still an awful lot of people in the country who don't see it the way we do, and I can't wrap my
Right.
head around how that's still possible, but here we are. Let's get into my first story that I'm dying to talk about. So the man formerly known as Prince Andrew was
Mhm.
arrested by British authorities today. So after the latest Epstein files dump happened, which was just last week, there was, more information came out about his relationship with Epstein. Now, there's been, a lot swirling around this man for a long time. There was the Virginia Giuffre accusations, which he paid her off for.
Mhm.
Had his title stripped already. He already, has lied about his relationship with Epstein and when it stopped, but it didn't. I mean, it's just there's so much around this guy. He just is humiliated the royal family. And I personally, there are haters. I don't hate the royal family. I like these people. But let's start with this photo. I want to get your reaction to this photo from Pam Bondi's testimony in front of the House Judiciary Committee last week. Justin, can we get Justin up here too? Can we both be here with the photo?
I'm looking at it there.
Yes, there he is. So in the background, you can see there's a photograph behind Pam Bondi. It may be a little bit hard to see, but there's a young lady laying on the floor. It's a split photo. There's two photos. She's laying on the floor, and that is Prince Andrew kneeling on the floor over her. And one of the images, he has his hand on her abdomen, and the other one,
Mhm.
he's looking up at the camera. And this is a new image that just came out. And I'm sorry, it's hard to see here. Way in the background, there's a table and there's somebody's legs, a man's legs just with his feet up on the table. This is a very casual atmosphere. Everybody's having a good time. And Prince Andrew looks perfectly comfortable. Like it's not his first
Mhm.
day wherever they are. It's a creepy
I
photo. As a woman, this is a creepy photo. What do you think?
I presume she's a minor. That's why her face is blocked out.
Yes.
Yeah. See, this is look. We all I think right now we know what Epstein is and was. It's also the Bill Clinton show with Epstein. I mean, he seemed to be the prominent permeated face that was not only close with Epstein, but Epstein funded a lot of Hillary and Bill's adventures, their their global initiatives, and they're very close with Epstein. It's the Bill Clinton files, is really what it is. And of course, now they're stuck testifying, and I'm sure that'll be a Fifth Amendment plea after about another Fifth Amendment plea, and then another Fifth Amendment plea. You look at the royal family here, and it's just people that are spoiled and detached from reality. They don't have they just their lives are made out for them. They don't know struggle. They don't know pay a bill. They get what they want when they want, how they want it, and they think that there are no consequences to their actions. So they conducted themselves in this manner, and a lot more egregious. What we know is probably the tip of the iceberg,
Absolutely.
proverbially speaking. I mean, these are people that want their way, get their way, special way, arrogant, greed and conceit, and it just fills those files. And it's what we don't know that's probably a lot more alarming. I mean, I think I read the other day, Elena, that Ghislaine Maxwell had made a statement that she'll speak publicly and kind of dig up all the bodies if she's guaranteed a pardon from President Trump. And I don't know if he's responded to that yet, but that would certainly be interesting to hear her take on things.
I
But
mean,
this is what it is.
if it was like an FBI reward when you get it after a conviction,
Hmm.
might be worth it. I
Yeah.
mean,
I'd like to hear what she has to say. I mean, look, this is the Bill Clinton files. This is the Clintons and the Epsteins were tight. Bill, God knows what he did there with his deviant sexual compass. Hillary too. I mean, he funded them. They were very close, and what they probably did together that we don't know about is probably really disturbing.
beyond disturbing. It doesn't, I don't, I don't, I don't doubt that Bill Clinton, especially, was in deep with this man, and we know that Hillary, and even though she says she didn't know him, we know she does. But I don't think this isn't a political thing, though, either. I think that the reason that no one is really being dragged through the mud and prosecuted is because there are people on both sides of the aisle that, Epstein had everybody, knocking at his door for whatever it was that he was selling, and people from both sides of the aisle, and kings of industry, and people who are friends, and they're all friends at the end of the day. And I
He
think
had
that's why
money.
the fight.
He had money,
Yeah.
and he wants, politicians want money. Believe me, I know that. And they were willing to engage with this guy. And I think the files are also showing how clear President Trump has been from all of this. He actually called the police on him, threw him out of Mar-a-Lago. I mean, it's funny the left is scrambling, thinking, oh, there's going to be this big bombshell come out to implicate Trump, and you got to be kidding me. These are the Bill Clinton files, period.
Yeah, it's true. Damon, we can get rid of the photo. I want to get back to Prince Andrew, though, because he's kind of a very high profile character in this story, and he was arrested for nothing to do with sex trafficking or sexual assault or anything like that. This is like a gangster who commits 100 murders but gets locked up on tax evasion, is what happened here. So the reason they arrested him was for misconduct in public office, because in the emails that came out between him and Epstein while he was serving as the UK's trade envoy to the US, this happened in 2010 and 2011, he shared a bunch of info he wasn't supposed to, including confidential government trade reports, official travel information. What else do we got here?
He thinks he's above the law.
Well, why wouldn't he think like that? He's never had consequences in his life. Oh, there was a confidential briefing on UK investment opportunities in Afghanistan. So he was sharing all this information with Epstein, and now he could potentially spend the rest of his life in jail in the UK. And I think they want that at this point. They're dying to lock some of these people up. And I'm hoping that these other people in the files, even if they can't put the case together really well against them, if there's no video or hard evidence of them sexually assaulting people, if you're that kind of creep who will sexually assault a young girl, you have no limits in any other area too. There probably are ways that they can find things to get them put away, because at the end of the day, all they really want is a conviction of a bad guy. It doesn't really matter what you get them on. So.
Well, I think you really hit the nail on the head. This guy just never knew consequence to action in life, and who from the royal family does? Other than, I mean, the men have to serve in the military, and that's a good thing. It kind of wakes them up a little bit. But generally, there's no consequence to his action. I mean, he doesn't have to work for a living. He's above the law, so he thinks. And it's a shame that the family has to take a black eye with this. I was listening to Larry Elder on the way home to cut here, and on 990 AM, and Larry Elder is a syndicated talk show host. He was saying that Prince Charles may have to abdicate because he was more than aware of what his underling here was doing. So not Prince Charles, King Charles would have to abdicate the throne, possibly because he was aware of what Prince Philip had just been arrested for, and was aware of it, knew of it, didn't do anything about it. I don't know if it goes that far. I don't know if they're really
aware of the sexual crimes, or aware of the
aware of the misconduct potentially.
The misconduct. Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. Yeah. So
Yeah.
just
I don't know if it goes that deep. I mean, it's funny when you look at the royal family. It's like, you know what? You've thrown your country away to Islam for the most part, at least the southern part of it. So what is it you're going to be king and queen of?
I know.
I mean, it's like, what are you going to be, king and queen of the world? I mean, this England is in very bad shape, and Mr. Starmer is just the wrong leader. They need a Margaret Thatcher again. They need their own version of Donald Trump. They've let immigration basically destroy the southern part of their country. And at this point, in my opinion, Elena, we'll see Muslims in southern England ask for an autonomous zone, formally recognized, if not outright, just a different separate country. And and England, I don't know, what do you do at that point? Are you going to just decide? Do you have the political will to deport all of them? Probably not.
Probably
So it's
not.
a real mess. It's a shame to see. It's horrible to see, but it's the reality.
Well, while we're on the topic of things that are horrible to see, let's switch gears to a similar on a similar track, though. Can you pop up photo number 2, please? All right. Yeah, here we have
My man.
a campaign image from our boy, New York City Mayor
Yeah.
Zohran Mamdani. Now, in here, he looks like he's just the ice cream man. He's coming to deliver wonderful things. It's bright, it's colorful, he's positive. Everything is going to be wonderful on the warmth of collectivism, as he put it. He's been in office for a month and a half now, and there is already a very stark contrast from this bright, shiny, smiling mood
Mhm.
that he had celebratory in his campaign to now. Can you pop up video 3?
Crisis will not disappear. It will simply return, year after year, forcing harder and harsher choices.
So, yeah, we can get rid of that. So,
Yeah, reality has set in. Gee, socialism doesn't work. Yet again, how many times do you have to try to roll the dice on this?
but come on, a month and a half, and he's already giving doomsday speeches. And I didn't just pick a clip out of context. The whole speech was like that. It is just dark, and he looks nervous, and he's sweating,
Mhm.
and
Well,
doomsday.
Elena, either he was really naive and stupid enough to believe what he was trying to sell the people of New York, that he could actually implement some type of socialism and make it work, or he just lied to get elected, which is very possible, and
Yeah.
now he has to play the game that Bill Clinton played, where after he was elected, no, I don't mean to raise your taxes, but I feel your pain, and we don't have a choice, and we're going to, I mean, you have to, I talk all the time when we speak now. It's like, how does this guy get elected? One word: apathy. There are too many people sitting home. Yes,
Yes.
you will have people that fall for the lines of socialists and, oh, this is free and this is great and we're going to make it fair and da, da, da. And people will fall for that always. But it's the number of people that sit home and are not participating, and it's the apathy that's getting people like him elected. And I talk about it every time I speak on with campaign speeches and meeting with different groups. Apathy is going to do us in. We have so many people that sit home. Many elections, more people sit home than vote, and we have to change that. We really need people to be receptive and get involved and manifest it, and people turning out to participate and vote. And apathy is dangerously high in this country.
Yeah, voting apathy is dangerously high. You and I talked earlier today, and we talked about, I don't want to spend too much time on it, honestly, but we talked about there's another kind of apathy that, for regular people to step into political roles, the barrier has gotten higher and higher and higher. I mean, the amount of money you need to raise is impossible. You mentioned to me today that in New Jersey, it used to
Mhm.
be that you needed 1,000 signatures to get yourself on a ballot. Now you need 2,500. That was just an arbitrary rule that was meant to make a higher barrier to keep the
Yeah.
people in power longer. So, those kinds of things create apathy because they create a general helplessness for the average person. And what's funny here, looking at the New York relationship between the governor and the mayor. So the reason he's all doomsday is because he wants the state house in Albany to change the law so that he can increase the corporate tax rate and
Yeah.
increase taxes on the wealthy. And they're saying no. Now, Kathy Hochul, the governor, endorsed him, and now she's even as much of a progressive psychopath as she is. Even she can see how bad that idea is to tax the rich and the corporations to the point where they all just bolt.
Well, that's just it. In the broader issue, Alina, and I have read this, studied it, believed that I've incorporated into my political disposition. We live in the age of the computer chip. Okay, live in the age of the computer chip. We have instantaneous communication. Capital and people and businesses can flow globally with a mouse click. And the computer chip is demanding that governments treat businesses and citizens like customers to be sought after and retained. And you have these liberals from the far left thinking that I'll tax and regulate my way out of this. I'll sue this company, prosecute this industry, raise taxes on the rich. They get up and leave your jurisdiction. You cannot do that. If you do not understand that basic principle of governance in the information age, do not run for office. You're going to break something. I mean, you look, I mean, globally, countries with lower tax rates perform better economically. State by state here in the US, states with lower tax rates and lower tax burdens and more sensible regulatory schematics perform better economically. It's the computer chip. People, capital, businesses, they can all float around the globe with a mouse click. They can get up and move. They don't have to stay here. You left the Northeast. You know how many people have done that? You know how many
Yeah.
people have left? California has lost, I think, millions of people in the past couple of years. Same with New York. They're losing congressional seats. But you would think that that would dawn on somebody to say, hey, why are these people leaving? Because you have the wrong system of taxation, a burdensome regulatory climate, and your social policies are anti-family, anti-growth. It's just a horrible method. You would think at some point they would dawn on them. But even if it does, it seems to be what they want. Phil
Yeah.
Murphy, the former governor of this state, he took to the airwaves and said, he famously said, if taxes are your issue, we're not your state. The hell would say that? When people struggle under in New Jersey an income tax, sales tax, a property tax, in some cases an inheritance tax, high gasoline taxes, not to mention every fee that you need for every license that the government has to give you before you can do anything. It's like they either don't get it or they do get it, and it's the result they want.
And it doesn't matter. Yeah, it doesn't matter. It doesn't improve our quality of life one bit to have these taxes go up. And that's part of the problem in New York. You know what? You kind of made a good point about red versus blue. Can you pop up graphic number 4? Because this graphic is the perfect contrast of what's going on in Florida. The entire state of Florida has almost triple the population of New York City, 24 million compared to a little over 8 million, and a smaller budget. I don't even know geographically. I don't even know. I mean, how many x times the size? Everything. Cities, Everglades. Thousands of miles of coastline, and we have a smaller budget and a higher quality of life and a better cost of living. And it's not cheap in Florida the way it used to be, but it is infinitely cheaper than New York City. I mean, so what you pay for, if you were to purchase a studio apartment in New York City, you can get a 4-bedroom house with a pool here in a nice neighborhood. So
if you look at, look at the patch of blue in the north. If you look at the map of the United States, and if you broke it down politically, the northeast corner quadrant, if you will, is blue. Really, New Hampshire is the only really competitive state. We have a few congressional districts, but who's been running the show for decades? Left-wing Democrats. No consequence to their political action, and people will still say, like in New Jersey, it's expensive to live here. My property taxes are high. My electric bill is high, but I'll vote for Mikey Sherrill, as if putting more Democrats in office and keeping them in office somehow will change what's been going wrong for the past 25 straight years.
That is exactly what they think. I actually, listen, I actually heard a New Yorker say, a Mamdani supporter say, well, Bill de Blasio was terrible. And it didn't get better with Eric Adams. So this guy, I think this is going to really be, and it's like, you
they don't give up.
They're underwater.
Here's New York City. Here's New York City. I tell people, look, New York had to go through crime, corruption, and absolute filth and degradation in the 70s and 80s for 20 years and 2 decades before they got wise enough to say, maybe the Democrats who are running this city are the problem. And in 1993, they elected Rudy Giuliani, who was fabulous. He turned that city around. It was clean, prosperous, productive. Murder rates were falling and declining. It was safe. You could go visit there. And then he won 2 terms. And then Bloomberg was smart enough to keep those policies in place. And then somehow it just kind of sifted back to electing, Marxist de Blasio. who then started to unravel and destroy everything. It's like you got to just realize that what are people looking at? Why don't they see this? And why don't they care?
Because during that time, what they did was they decided to, start indoctrinating in the schools. That was not, that happened slowly. That didn't just happen during the Biden administration. So they started indoctrinating, and they raised up a whole population of new young voters, and who are just completely brainwashed that we're Nazis, even though and they couldn't see how good they had it.
Who were not alive during 9/11. They were not alive on 9/11.
Yeah,
because it's been 24 years ago.
But I want to say I love Rudy Giuliani, but there was one thing he did that I will complain about until the day I die. And he spent a lot of time at some point in his career going after the mafia. And I don't condone organized crime, but I can tell you this from many, many years of experience living and operating in neighborhoods where the mafia operated, and they were safe, and they were clean, and they were a de facto police force, and they didn't take any garbage from anybody. And when he cracked down on them and they pulled out, they were taken out, he left a vacuum. And the police didn't do the same job. And then at that same time, all the anti-police indoctrination came. And the mafia, if they were still there, that wouldn't have survived the day either. You know what I mean? They would have had the police on their side. So he created a real problem. And now we're in a place where Mamdani it just nixed a plan to hire 5,000 new NYPD officers. And he's going to be, with the ones that are there, he's going to be shifting resources and putting, doing the whole send the social worker thing and training 911 operators to stay on the phone with you for a while to see if you need a social worker or a cop. So Rudy started that problem. As far as I'm concerned, I still love you, Rudy, but I'm never going to let you get it. I'm going to, on the same side, I'm going to be talking about this.
It's funny. I think the people in South Philadelphia will tell you the same thing, that the neighborhoods in South Philadelphia where, there was a mafia presence, they were safe. You could walk those streets at night. And it's funny because the criminals and the hoods and the thugs, they knew where not to go. But there was a penalty to pay. They knew where not to go. Yeah.
And as a woman, I was safer. I was safe. They had my back. And frankly, I remember one time during a massive snowstorm in Boston, they sent out like the young guys to shovel out my car for me. I mean, I was nobody. And they, that was part of like, a hazing thing that, they made the guys, you do what I say. And they did, but they shoveled me like, here they are. They're shoveling out my car, bringing me coffee. You come inside and have a coffee with us, and don't worry about your car. Like they were the nicest, most orderly people that I have ever lived around. But anyway, we have to move on. I want to give New Yorkers one piece of advice. With all the budgets being cut, he's threatening if he doesn't get these the demands met from upstate to tax the wealthy and the corporations, which he's not going to get, that he's going to dip into the rainy day fund. He's going to increase your property taxes by 10%. And Mamdani is also going to dip into the government employee health retirement rainy day fund. So even, all you people with all of your pensions, good luck with that. So there's a way to solve the problem for him. You can pop up graphic number 5. If you just once a day call this phone number, you will save your city's budget. Every day, the ICE tip line, 866-DHS-2-ICE, deport all the illegal aliens out of New York City, and you will save billions of dollars every year. You'll help your mayor. You'll help yourself. You might even get that free bus ride you voted for.
The free bus ride.
Yes. Do your part. Save your city. Save your country. Call ICE. And we've got more on ICE. We'll be right back after the break.
Hi, I'm Alexandra Levine. I'm a professional opera singer, actress, TV, and radio personality. Since 2015, I've been a volunteer, a field director, and a campaign manager, learning the ins and outs of the political world. That's why I became a political consultant. My job is to lead you to victory with organization, structure, and the mindset of winning for your district or state. With my guidance and direction, I can keep you focused on the things that matter to the people and advise you on key issues that need to be addressed. If you're a serious candidate that is serious about winning, then book a consultation with me today. Go to levineconsulting.co. You'll be happy you did.
We're back, and Seth Eisenberg from the Conservative Corner is here. What's up, Seth?
How are you guys doing?
How's Seth?
We're doing great. We're doing great. All right. Well, you know what?
I was just listening to the mob thing before you went to break.
Yeah.
I agree. They kept neighborhoods clean, kept the city clean, and I mean, don't get me wrong, they're criminals. They're bad people, but they only were bad people to other bad people.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. They didn't. That's true.
Either you were a civilian or you were involved. If you were a civilian, they didn't mess with you. You had nothing for them. There was nothing they could get from you, so they didn't mess with you.
Yeah.
And they did keep things orderly.
Yeah. And even when they shook people down for protection, they protected them better than the cops do. I'm sorry. It's better than the government does. The government makes me pay them for protection, and they don't protect me. So, well, you know, or at least in cities, in blue cities here in Florida, I do feel, you know, that the sheriff's department and the local police are better. And my federal government is protecting, the military is protecting me. So I mean, no insult there. But in a city like New York, where they're told to stand down, or Minneapolis, where they're told to stand down, you're paying for a service you're not getting. You did get it when the mafia shook you down. Anyway, let's move on. So, kids leaving school to go on ICE protests. We've all been watching this now for a few weeks, watching teachers bring children out into dangerous situations. And some teachers are having in-school ICE protests. I saw one with 4-year-olds. So this is widespread from pre-K up to high school. And on Monday, there's a Palm Beach County here in Florida didn't close their schools for President's Day. There's only a few counties in Florida that stayed open. They were one. And 4 high schools went out together in a big ICE protest. And a kid got hit by a car at a protest. He's all right. He's going to live. Thank God. But I was waiting for that to happen. And I'm sure you were too. What do you think about that, guys? Seth, jump in.
I was reading up on that because I wanted to make sure I wasn't speaking out of ignorance like I normally do. But the Supreme Court said that, your First Amendment rights don't end at the school doors. You're allowed to do, you can protest as a student. You can, voice your opinion. But there's a caveat. As long as it doesn't interrupt the school or school functions, and the school has the final say. So while these kids are saying, well, it's my First Amendment right. Yes, it is, as long as the school says, hey, it's acceptable. Now, if the school says it's acceptable and they allow this to happen, then I want to make sure that all the students that are out there protesting have straight A's. They're not missing any work. They've done everything they're supposed to do. They have no disciplinary issues, and missing that school is not going to affect them. And I guarantee you, based on just in Maryland where this happens, where some of the counties have only a 40% proficiency in reading, these kids can't afford to miss that much time in school. They need to be back in the class and learning. These teachers need to stop worrying about looking like the most woke person in the school and do what they're paid to do, and that's teach.
That's right. And there's
yelling, cussing, and doing this to cops. You're not teaching them anything. This is ridiculous. They're children. They need to be led. And when they can't be led, they need to be held accountable. It's that simple.
It is that simple, but there's something else to it. Justin, in many school districts, it is the law that, you can't take the kid off the school property without a parental permission slip being filled out, as in, so are they opening themselves up to liability?
But they should. I mean, they should be. First of all, they don't have the right to impose on the child what the child should be protesting and not protesting. Seth, you're right. Get back in the classroom. Do what you're being paid to do. Well, you're not doing it well, by the way. And you don't bring these kids, you don't subject them to a potentially dangerous situation. We know how ICE raids can unfortunately go because they're criminals, hardened criminals, gang members. There's confrontation. You don't bring a child into that. That's endangering the welfare of a child. Not to mention, you're being paid to teach the child, keep them in school where they're safe and known. You don't drag them out. There's just so much wrong with it. But it is just an extension of the Marxist doctrine to damage the parental right of parents, damage the parent-child relationship. And that is what this is what this all is. They want to turn kids against authority, against parents, against the government, and this is what they do. And until there's a severe consequence, they'll keep doing it. Unfortunately.
Yeah. Unfortunately, like, and hopefully the child being hit by a car will wake at least some teachers and principals up to saying enough. And there are some signs of hope here. So in Manassas, Virginia, 300 kids were suspended today from Woodbridge High School after they had an ice walkout. So 3-day suspension. In Mustang High School in Oklahoma,
Cool.
122 students got in-school suspensions after ditching class for an anti-ice protest. And then also in Palm Beach, where the kid got hit by the car, this father, pop-up video 6, went in and took care of business.
They had a ICE protest on campus that was friendly and was supposed to be safe for the average.
This is for school. This isn't for kids shouldn't be involved in that shit. This is for learning. I have to leave work because while I'm working, I have to worry about what you're manipulating my kids into listening to. It's bullshit. It's fake media. I want my son out of here now. Can you call him up here and get him out of here?
That's the way to do it, folks.
Hell yeah.
That's the way to do it.
Right?
That's the way to do it. It's good to see parents because they really have to assert themselves, and it's tough. Like I've never been married. I don't have children. And you just don't want to dump this on the parents and say, oh, now you have to start wrestling with the Marxist left wing of the Democrat Party for the future of your child. But unfortunately, that's kind of what they have to do.
And I think more importantly, it's good to see fathers getting off the bench.
Yeah.
And starting to assert themselves into what's going on. I think for far too long with the toxic masculinity and feminism, fathers have been afraid to step up and go, hey, this is not going to happen anymore. So it's good to see that happening. That bodes well.
I think everybody should attend Catholic school, Catholic or not. They kept you straight. You were taught respect for authority, right from wrong. And if you did something wrong, you owned up to it. You were punished. You took accountability. You didn't blame somebody else. All good virtues.
Yeah.
All good virtues.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more. I'm thinking about virtues. I'm trying to decide. We're running out of time. I'm gonna. You guys want to talk about Minneapolis City Council overreach or Don Lemon?
Oh, Don Lemon.
Don
Don
Lemon.
If we have time, we'll go back to Minneapolis City Council overreach. Okay, I know everyone's.
Did he enter a plea?
Yeah, not guilty.
Not guilty.
Friday.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I love this too. He storms into a church, disrupts the most inviolate sacred house of worship. He goes in there with this band of criminal left-wing Marxist thugs. They threaten everybody, scare the hell out of children. One woman got hurt because she was trying to get away from them. They interrupted this church service, and Don Lemon says, "Oh, my First Amendment rights were trampled on." Hey, Don, it's the people inside that church that had their First Amendment rights trampled on. Period. They're just so damn delusional. Damn delusional.
Selfish. Pop up the video of Don Lemon, please. It is number 8. This is outside of the courthouse when he pled guilty last week. Okay.
For more than 30 years, I had been a journalist, and the power and protection of the First Amendment has been the underpinning of my work. The First Amendment, the freedom of the press, the bedrock of our democracy. I will not be intimidated. I will not back down. I will fight these baseless charges, and I will not be.
Like he's the victim.
Yeah, he's poor Don.
Like he's the victim. It's unbelievable, but believable, unfortunately.
If you watch, the footage from, we can get rid of that video. Thank you. The footage from the city's church day. If you watch it, it's still on his channel. His lawyers have probably told him keep it up. It'll make you look guilty to take it down, and everybody's got it already anyway. So it's all the lead up. He's like, we're going to do this. I can't tell you what we're going to do, but we're going to do this. I can't tell you what we're going to do. So there was so much evidence to make the conspiracy charge stick, the conspiracy to violate rights. And then the funniest, that's the FACE Act. And the second act, what is, friendly, excuse me, what's the word? Colloquially known as the KKK Act.
Oh, yeah.
That's the one where, that was actually written to protect the rights of newly freed slaves so that other people couldn't go and infringe and, stop them from exercising their rights as Americans, new Americans. And the irony that he's with this, Black Lives Matter activist who's going in there to teach these Christians a lesson and it violated people's rights at the same time. And then, like you said, Justin, to be yammering on about his right as a journalist, that doesn't, as a journalist, you don't have the right to infringe on other people's rights. That's not what the freedom of the media is about.
Now, this is the same state and city that someone stuck a rifle through an open church window and shot it up when children were in there praying in this Catholic church. Yeah. And then you get this trampling of the most sacred. You're in a house of worship. These people barge in there and disrupt the service. I'll tell you what, it's a damn good thing they ever try that in my church, and there's going to be some fist fighting going on. There's a confessional booth for a reason. I'll use it later. But, we in my church right now, St. Mary's of the Lakes in Medford, sadly, we have to have an armed officer for our masses now. And it's sad commentary. But, there was a black minister. I can't recall his name, put a little message out to Don Lemon. And he said, Don, you come in my church like that, it's going to be Royal Rumble. I thought, well, let's see. And on these brave people disrupting the Christian church, you got plenty of Somali mosques. Go pick one of them and try it there. Be my guest.
Yeah, we cannot let this story die because our religious rights are being, questioned and trampled across the country. And I'm not playing. I'm not playing with that. You're not trampling on
Elena,
God.
do you know how many attacks on Catholic churches and Catholic pro-life pregnancy centers there have been since 2020? 500.
Wow.
And that's just Catholic. I mean, other Christian churches too, and synagogues, of course. We know that what the Jewish students have been put up with from the pro-Palestinian group. I mean, this is just, folks, you look at it and you really have to sit back and say, is the culture war this bad and this full blown? And the answer is yes. We got a bunch of lunatics in this country right now that just want to destroy Christianity, the free market, the government, society, culture, public education. They're nuts. I mean, where the hell do these people come from? They're here.
Seth, you go ahead. Go off. Let's go. I can see you getting antsy. I see you moving around.
I don't understand how anybody, journalist or not, and I'm a big First Amendment person. I mean, I exercise my First Amendment every time I'm on a podcast. Every time I'm on the podcast, I say what I'm in my normal life. I say what I want to say. I can't even get behind, well, it's my First Amendment right. I can go to a church and disrupt people and threaten people and cause harm and put fear in people. It's not your First Amendment right. That is not even close. Nowhere in the First Amendment does it say you have a right to be aggressive. You have a right to be dangerous. You have a right to cause harm. No, it says peaceful assembly. Peaceful is the key word. This was not peaceful. And like Justin was saying, some of these churches, they would have got shot. They go to the wrong church that has armed guards. All they see is a bunch of people kicking the door, running in. They're going to start putting lead down range and killing folks. And then they would be the victims. Oh, we were just coming in to exercise our First Amendment rights. They have no right to do that.
That's right. It's peaceful assembly. That's correct.
That's the key. And that's what everybody forgets when it comes to the First Amendment. Oh, I can do it and push and scream it. No, you can't. It says peaceful. Nothing else. Peaceful assembly. I think Don Lemon needs to be drug out behind the courthouse and have his ass kicked up around the shoulders and then left in a puddle of his own blood to think about his stupid actions. You don't do that to people. Correct. He hasn't been a journalist in years. He was fired from CNN. How big a piece of shit do you got to be to get fired from CNN? I mean, really? They hire loaves of bread just to sit on a stool and take pictures of it. But he got fired from CNN. I hope he's convicted. I hope they make an example of him. I hope everybody that broke into that church gets convicted and put in jail. I hope they do hard time in a federal prison.
I hope that there's civil action too. I hope
you sue the shit out of all of them.
Absolutely. Hit them
And
both
it's
ends.
unacceptable. And another thing people need to stop doing is stop worrying about being perceived as a bad person. Like Justin said, if you come into a church and I'm there, not that I go to church, and I'm not knocking church, but that's another story. If I'm in a church and you come in and you do that, I'm knocking teeth out. I don't know why you're there. I don't know if you're there to hurt people. I'm not going to sit there and try to determine what your intention is. All I know is you ran in and you're screaming and yelling. Women and children are crying. I'm knocking teeth out. And if I'm carrying a gun, I'm putting lead in people's chests. We need to stop letting these liberal lunatics push us around.
Yeah.
We need to start pushing back. And that's what will stop this. When they realize we're no longer the easy mark.
I'm gonna go.
Bully,
Yeah,
don't let
I
bully.
agree. There's a horrendous story. The worst story I think that I have ever read and am aware of happened in France. Catholic church, service underway, Catholic church, priest going. A girl walked in to the church. She had obtained the innards from a butcher shop of like a slaughtered animal. She goes to the altar, okay, simulates the Virgin Mary having an abortion, and then urinates all over the altar. This is a true story. I mean, God forgive me, I even have to repeat it. This is a true story in France. This woman who was she's pro-choice, and she was protesting the Catholic Church being pro-life. So she pulled this little stunt on an altar with these bloody innards of an animal, of the Virgin Mary having an abortion with baby Jesus. She then urinates, and so they arrest her, of course. French court convicted her of whatever they could bring against her. The European Union Human Rights Commission overruled the French court and said she has a right to an abortion and to express it, and they overturned her conviction. The European Union Human Rights Commission. I mean, this is the madness of the left, and it's just, you have to stop and think. I mean, don't think this can't be true. It's a true story. It's a true story.
As much as I don't even like, in general, Muslims, I would never go to a mosque and do what they did in that Catholic church. Never. I would respect that. I would respect their feelings about that building and not do that to them in their mosque. Especially they're just running their own business. They're just worshiping.
Invite Don Lemon. Go do that. Go disrupt the mosque.
He won't.
Prayer service. Of course they won't.
He lacks the strength of his conviction.
We would never do that. You know, Justin and you too, Seth, but Justin especially because you're Catholic. When I was at the Catholic Church, I mean, we never read the Book of Revelation, and I'm still learning it now. It's a very complicated book about end times and Jesus's return and how absolutely hellish everything is going to get. Now, we are not certainly the first generation to look around and say, wow, it might be end times. I mean, you know, there are plenty before us who've probably thought that, but highly recommend you give the book a read, because the last book of the Bible, because it all starts to make sense. And you know, it helps me personally to detach every now and then, because I know how the book ends, and it ends very, very well for us, for the good guys. So
good always defeats evil.
And I've always been of the opinion, you know, we refer to God as the Father. Being a father and having a father, I know for a fact that I'm not always happy with my kids, and my father was not always happy with me. And I think people need to understand that if God is your father, you're going to upset him, and he's going to hold you accountable. We need to stop thinking, oh, it's okay because, you know, I believe in God, so I can go out and do this, or I can go to that church and do that stuff on the altar because I believe in God and I'm doing God's work. No, he's going to be angry if you do stupid shit. He's done it before. He's flooded the world and said, look, I'm hitting the reset button. Y'all don't know what you're doing. I need to start over again. We need to take into consideration that not everything we do because we say it's from God is from God. That comes from a lot of more ego than anything else.
That was her name, the woman, Nikema Levy Armstrong. She was the ringleader at the Don Lemon event. In the video, at one point, she says, this is for God. We're doing, she says exactly what you're saying. And it's a perfect example of this is the most unchristlike thing that I can think of what she did. And
Doesn't it say in the Bible, woe to those that say evil is good and good is evil and dark
Yes.
is light and light is dark?
Yes.
Isn't there a passage about that?
yeah,
Like pretty
Yeah.
predominant? Like it's like people know that one?
there absolutely is. And there's also about paying your taxes and following the government, because all leaders are appointed by God. And, we have to follow the law, whether we like it or not, as Christians anyway. But I want to give you guys something to smile about. Okay.
Please.
So do you guys enjoy Schadenfreude? Are you familiar with Schadenfreude? It is a German word that means finding pleasure in someone else's misfortune, which is not a very nice thing. But we're gonna do it anyway. So Seth just cannot wait. So Barbara Lee, who was a congressional rep for many years, from 1998 to 2025, I have. And she is now the mayor of Oakland, California. So she is at the top of one of America's stinkiest garbage heaps. And she's wildly progressive. She was one of the ones with Cory Booker who wanted to teach sex ed to kindergartners. They were in on that together. That's how much I love this lady, you can imagine. Anyway, here's an example of a quick one of her best ideas from the debate when she was running for mayor. Can you pop up number 9, please?
You're calling for a $50 an hour federal minimum wage. That's 7 times the current national minimum wage of $7.25 an hour. Can you explain how that would be economically sustainable for small businesses? You have 60 seconds.
All right, so
$50 minimum wage. Yeah.
she gave a terrible answer. I'll spare you. I didn't even include that clip. It was as bad as you can imagine. It would be like an AOC nonsensical answer. Anyway, she won the mayor's race. She was sworn in May of 2025. As of January 1st, 2026, the new minimum wage in Oakland, California is $17.35. Unless you work in a hotel and you don't have health benefits, it does go up to $25 there. I want to just paint the picture of this woman so you can really schadenfreude this all the way and enjoy her. She also has soft on crime policies, all the progressive, usuals. And on Monday, while City Hall was closed for President's Day, her office was broken into. Like, just somebody just shimmied into City Hall, shimmied open the mayor's office door, stole a set of keys, and stole the mayor's city-issued SUV.
Poetic justice, but you can't get
number 10.
better than that. God.
Yep, there's her parking spot with no SUV in it.
And they'll never learn. They'll never hold the criminal accountable. The far left thinks that society is failing the criminal, and they don't hold people accountable for what they do. It's systemic racism or whatever else they come up with, and that's just no matter what you do, they just don't. Their mindset on things is so backwards and inside out and upside down. It's incredible how they even function. But the sad part that so many wind up in elected office in this country. Seth, earlier before you come on, I said the reason that people like Mom Donnie are elected, apathy.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
definitely. No argument from me. People don't educate themselves on candidates on either side. They just look for that letter after the name. RD, 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 RD. That's all they care about. Mm-hmm. That's why I wish they'd pass a law where you couldn't put that on a ballot, where you just had to put the name and the position they're running for, not their affiliation. That way people would have to look into the candidate and educate themselves. Mm-hmm. I would love that, but it'll never happen because both parties realize most people just vote down line. They don't even look at the name. So that'll never happen. But I would love to see that happen, just because that would I think a lot of people, especially on the Democratic side, would be shocked. Like, he said, what? They support what? That's crazy. But it'll never happen.
Yeah, I think we can. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know that that would actually help. Like, I don't think it would make people any less lazy. I think, feminists would vote for the lady name, and, other people would vote for the cultural name that didn't sound the least white name, or, I don't know that it would help.
I am an eternal optimist, so.
Yeah, right. Yeah. All right. We only got a couple of minutes left, so we're gonna do a speed story. How
Speed.
about image 11 real quick?
Ugh.
I just want to recap. This is the gentleman who
Turn that
thinks
off, please.
if you don't think Roberta is attractive, that's a you problem, Justin.
In cases of erections lasting more than 4 hours, please stare at this picture.
No, we're joking, but this is a very serious picture, because this is the man who went and killed his ex-wife and his adult son and shot several other people and then killed himself at a Pawtucket, Rhode Island ice hockey rink at a high school senior hockey game. All right, get rid of him. We're done looking at him.
Yeah,
So
mental illness.
Justin, we started at the top of the hour where you said, Democrats at this point aren't just somebody that we disagree with ideologically. They are actually dangerous. And it just reminds me of where political correctness, let's think like 20 years ago, political correctness, it started out as being annoying and a little like, oh God, here we go with this one, and now it's dangerous. Because of political correctness in its current form, like how feminism started out good and now it's dangerous, because of it in its current form, nobody said anything. The men in the room saw this man showing up week after week, game after game, practice after practice, and nobody ever said, get this freaking lunatic out of here, away from our wives, away from our kids. We don't need this, and we're not taking it. Where 20 years ago, that fella in hot pants and lipstick would have been kicked out of any hockey rink in New England.
Mm-hmm.
And you first, then Seth, take it away.
Look, long journey begins with single step. And the Marxist left, like all good communists, are very patient. And they know that one fell swoop is not really reasonable for them or practical. So they chip away. They're very patient. They'll wait 20 years until this becomes normal, and then try to inculcate culturally what's now the new norm and what was wrong 20 years ago. And they're just very patient. You can sink a big ship, small holes. Sink a big ship. It just takes time. That's Ben Franklin and Poor Richards, and that's what you're seeing here. It's a culture war. It's an erosion. And I tell people, Lena, when I speak, the culture war began in this country in 1965. We're just waking up to it now. Those in the normal middle of the road, right leaning politically. The left has always been waging a culture war since I've been alive in 1965. It's latent sometimes. They're very quiet about it. Incremental. They like to do things incrementally, so that it's a frog in boiling water. We know that parable, and that piece of that's what it is. I mean, it's all calculated. It's part of a plan. It feeds on itself. They plant seeds. They're patient. They'll wait. They know children today are the adults tomorrow. That's why they're fighting so hard to destroy children's minds. That way, the adults are more easily controlled. If you don't, last thing they want is the family unit as the transmitter of cultural values, because that's detrimental to Marxism. And they've identified it, and they're waging war on it, and that's really what it is.
And they are winning the war on our children. And there are people who give me hope. There are families I see, homeschooling, but we're smaller in numbers, and they're winning the war on our children, and we have to stop it, or we are going to have a nation full of crazy adults. Seth, final word.
As a conservative, I don't care what people do in their own home. I don't care what people do in general, as long as you're not trying to force it on me or the government's trying to force it on me. And when it comes to transgender, it's just the opposite. Everywhere you look, the government's forcing it on you, or schools are forcing it on your kids, or just anywhere. In general, the population, you have to accept this. You have to accept this. I don't, off the top of my head, I don't remember, but I think over 75% of the last few mass shootings have been perpetrated by transgender people. Yeah. Most of the school shootings in the last couple of years have been perpetrated by transgender people. They are fucking sick people. They need help. We need to stop telling someone who has a broken arm that, no, your arm's not broken. You're fine. Keep doing what you're doing. They need help. And it's getting to the point where we're going to need to stop talking about it and put these people in a hospital. This guy had the SS tattoo on his arm on top of everything. He put out posts or blogs that said, if you tell transgender people that they're not, who they say they are, they're gonna go crazy. They're dangerous people. They're proving it every chance they get that they're dangerous. They should not have access to weapons. They should be locked up and studied until we can figure out what is wrong with their goddamn heads. They are killing people. And everybody's standing by because, oh no, don't be transphobic. It's not because they were transgender that they killed these people. It's because they were driven to it by the cisgender people.
Correct. That's correct. They're being worked up to violence. That's exactly right.
That this nut grabbed a gun and shot innocent people and killed his family. It's my fault because I won't acquiesce to his mental delusions and play along with him. It has to stop. And I'm not calling for violence. I'm calling for common sense. If I went to Elena's house and said, look, and there's a bone sticking out of my arm, and she goes, Seth, your arm's broken. And I go, no, it's not. It's fine. She's not going to go, oh, no, what? You're right. It's fine. Let's go play tennis. She's going to go, no, you need to get help. You need to go see a doctor. No different than a transgender person. I'm a girl. No, you're a boy. No, I'm a girl. We need to get you help. There's something wrong. Let me help you. Let's go talk to somebody because this is not normal. Not normal at all.
Agreed. And they're being worked up to violence. They're told, they are told, from the right, or, if people don't acquiesce to you, that's inflicting violence on you. Their words are violence on you. Two genders, that's violence on you. Traditional marriage, that's violence on you. And this is what these people are reacting this way. Again, it's calculated.
Mm-hmm.
It's calculated. It's planned. It's what they do.
I guess the big question to ask liberals is, how many more of your children are you willing to sacrifice to mentally ill people before you realize what you're doing isn't helping? It's not working. How many more children got to die for your grand experiment before you admit, okay, maybe we weren't right about this. Maybe we need to do something. Maybe we need to interject some medical and professional help here. Or they're just going to keep feeding kids to the machine.
Well, look at the AMA, the American Medical Association. They just came out, I think, within the past 2 weeks.
Yes.
Recommended that, the surgeries early, age 19 at the youngest. You stop mutilating the kids, and that's certainly good news. And
you know what though? Well, the trust is broken. The AMA, I could think of a dozen reasons why, off the top of my head, why I don't trust them, but. I'm glad that they finally came to their senses on this, but up yours. Years telling us that, oh no, this is safe. It is life-saving. It's healthy. It's reversible. The damage that they inflicted and the billions that they made. I want to see proverbial heads roll. I want to see people lose their jobs, lose their licenses, be sued.
Yeah.
They are being sued now. I want to see if there's any way to criminally prosecute moving forward. I'm sure we can't go back, but moving forward, criminalize this. It is an atrocity that we did. It's worse than the lobotomy thing because we did this to millions of kids. It's worse than anything we've ever done in this country. And I wonder if the numbers, I'd like to compare them to the Dr. Mengele experiments. Like, how many kids did he experiment on? I think we experimented on more here in America.
Probably. If you call it that, to mutilate, and then to demand that parents be declared criminals for objecting to it. I can't even get my mind around that. You got to be kidding me. Do that to someone's child. If you did it outside of school or a hospital, it's pedophilia, for crying out loud. Sickness.
Yeah.
It's sick, absolute sickness.
If I stop the kid on the street and start talking about sex to him, I'm going to jail. But if I do it in the classroom and say I'm a teacher, it's acceptable.
Right.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. It's ridiculous. But all right, guys, we could obviously talk for another hour. I have about a dozen more topics that we could cover, but that's all right. We're going to do this again another time. I am so grateful that you came to join me because it's way more fun with the two of you than me just by myself.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, and then we're gonna just go around real quick. Justin, tell us who you are. Where can people find out about your campaign and contribute?
Well, we're running around the state of New Jersey trying to secure the Republican nomination. Our website is Jersey Justin number 4, jerseyjustinforsenate.org. And on there, we have links to not only is my Senate pledge, my political blueprint and DNA, but links to our YouTube channel, Instagram, X. We got all the social media platforms up and running, our Facebook page, Justin Murphy for U.S. Senate. And we're touching as many voters as we possibly can and see where God guides us.
All right. And Seth, where can we find more about
For the 4 people that are interested in that, you can go to X for conservative Seth. I don't know why it was like that, but that's what it is. And on Facebook, it's the Conservative Corner. And then one last thing before you cut out of here. Remember the Middle East, we've got 2 battle groups over there from the U.S. Navy. We've got a bunch of Air Force people over there. They don't want to be there, so stop giving them a hard time on Facebook, all you armchair generals. They've been ordered. They're following orders. You've got to respect that and don't hold them accountable. They're doing what they're told to do like they're supposed to. So if you pray, keep them in your prayers. I mean, they don't want to be there as much as we don't want them there. We have a choice. They don't. So keep them in your prayers. It's a stressful situation, I'm sure. And I'm sure everyone there is on edge. Just keep them all in your prayers.
Agreed. Absolutely.
All right. That's a great idea. And yes, they're on the list now. And all right, guys, thank you for coming. Audience, we're
Great
psyched.
show.
It was a lot of fun. Yeah. Don't forget to like, subscribe to Alexandra and everybody here. And I'm at the Based Mother. You can find me on all the usual social channels. And we'll see you again next time on America's Pulse Network.
I heard Elena's moving back to New Jersey to vote for Justin.
Well, maybe.
God bless.
I'd vote for you if I could. If I were a Democrat, I'd vote for you, but I can't.
Yeah, that's right.
I can't lie.
Stay healthy, everyone, and talk soon.
Talk soon.
Good night. Thank you so much.
Be good, or be good at it.
Stop talking.
America's Pulse Network. The mainstream media is bought and paid for. The truth is twisted to fit their agenda. But America is waking up. Because podcasts are the future for trusted media. Welcome to the America's Pulse Network. It is a network built by patriots that upholds the Constitution. But America's Pulse Network stands for God, truth, and the America First movement. There is no corporate propaganda, no government spin, just real news, real talk, and real voices fighting for faith, freedom, and the future of this great nation with common sense. Here are some of America's Pulse Network podcasts. Alexandra Levine Live, hosted by Alexandra Levine. Jersey Shore Podcast, hosted by Damon Galdo. The Conservative Corner, hosted by Seth Eisenberg. The New Jersey State House Watch, hosted by Jack Brangan and Constance Detzel. APN's The Pulse is moderated by either Alexandra, Damon, Elena, or Seth. Also tune into America's Pulse Network on the following social media platforms: X, Rumble, Truth Social, Parler, Facebook, YouTube, and Spotify. Join the revolution because the pulse of America beats for God and country. America's Pulse Network is for faith, family, freedom, and truth.
Alexandra, thanks you for watching tonight's Alexandra Levine Live podcast. See you at the next packed show, from breaking news to informative topics that will keep you informed. So please click the subscribe button to get notified for upcoming episodes. If you like what the Alexandra talks about, then share the Alexandra Levine Live podcast with others. Alexandra also looks forward to seeing you in the next upcoming episode.